Your body can only do a couple of moves. Your body can squat, hinge, you can pull, you can push, you can carry. And the last one is, some people think it's not a movement, some people do think it's a movement. I like to think about the sixth one as a anti-rotation. And I will explain this later. So, hello guys, my name is Leszek. Thank you very much for coming back to my channel. I'm the personal trainer and head coach at Fitness Soul, and in this series I'm giving you everything you need to know to be able to program your own session and everything you need to know to take care of your body. So we will talk about the strength, we talk about the endurance, we talk about the mobility. I teach you how to do things and I explain why we're doing those things. We've got 6 main movements. Those two, the pull and push, there is a 2 different ways of doing this. You've got the overhead pull and push. So overhead, head, or you do this in front of your chest, in front. So overhead would be a putting a luggage above your head. In front would be a push-up. Once you've got those 6, then you know how to start programming your own sessions, your own strength sessions. Because the idea is that you have to hit all of those 6 in the session, either during the session or during the week. And how we do that? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about right now. So let's start with the squat. Squat. Squat is a king exercise. It's one of the best things you can do for your body. And you do squat basically every day. Every time you sit down on the chair and every time you stand up, you do squat. Now, we can make your squat better by learning the proper form and then loading this movement so you can stand up with the heavier weight. Let's look at the form first. So first of all, your feet need to be shoulder width apart. So this is your feet here, this is your toes, and then this is shoulder width apart. This is a good start. Now the toes might be slightly out. Layla, please stop this. No, that's enough. Sorry for my dog. So the toes might be slightly out. Now, in terms of the position, when you do the squat, so this is your standing here, your hips, your legs, this is your knees. When you're standing, think about pushing your bum back. And when you start pushing your bum back, then think about dropping your bum down. So it starts looking like this. Your knees will go forward, your body will fold, and the upper body will fold this way as well. Right? And the full squat, you would like to bring your hips below the knee level. So again, this is my hips here, and then I've got the quads, knees, ankles. There we go. And then the torso should stay upright as much as you can. Probably the angle of your shin is a good angle for your torso as well. So this is your torso here. And then that's it. You're trying to keep everything straight there. Knees are pointing forward and knees are above the toes all the time. The common mistakes or common problems with the squat is that people cannot go deep enough because, and then to be able to go deep enough, they need to lift the heels, and this is not good. Probably the reason is that, first of all, they don't know how to do it. So if you start thinking, okay, I want to keep my balance on the heels, this will help. And then secondly, your ankle mobility might not be good enough, so you need to kind of cover this, because your ability to squat deep relies on how far you can push your knees forward. So what's the closer angle here between your shin and the floor? the smaller the angle, the less depth you'll get. So if you got another person here standing and with very bad ankle mobility, then the squat would look something like this. And this is common with beginners. So if you're a beginner and then you can see that your hips are above the knees, you probably need to work on the ankle mobility. And another common mistake, which I see a lot, is so this is there, and then that people lean forward far too much, and that's the reason. And it's basically they leaning so much forward that if we put some weight on the shoulders there, they would just collapse. And then this is a lot of times due to not knowing how to engage your core and how to engage your abs. And on the other hand, sometimes it's the lack of the strength of your core and abs, but we'll cover this later. Okay, so the second movement is the hinge. Hinge is when the squat is a king, the hinge is the queen. The hinge is less understood by people because we do squat all the time. When every time you sit on the chair, the hinge, not necessarily. So to understand that, you need to think about your hips. You need to find two hips bones and then push your hips back as far as possible without bending your knees. So let's say this is the hips, this is upper body here, this is the knees and the ankles, and then you're finding hips bones and you push them back as far as possible. So you'll feel them. The knees are soft. Knees soft. So you do keep them fairly straight, don't bend them. Then the hips are going back. So hips are going back. So you'll see that you start this and then your upper body will be somewhere there. So you'd say the hinge is the start of the squat as well, because this, but then you're trying to work the back of your legs. And you should feel, when you're hinging, you should feel back of your legs. You shouldn't feel that much of your lower back. If you start feeling lower back, it means that you are creating the bend of your upper body with the spine and with the lower back, and that's not good. You're trying to keep your back neutral. The upper body should stay straight, and the only work it's done is at the back of your legs, and that's it. Okay, now the third movement, push. We've got two different ways of pushing. We can push things above our head and we can push in front of us. So the push above the head, it's like, imagine you want to put the suitcase above in the plane. When the push in front, it's kind of like a push-up. It's this thing is, it's super functional, and then we use push almost every day. So it's nice to be able to do it well. For the push, we mostly using the front of our body. So we use chest and we use the shoulders and we use a little bit of arms. And so we've got overhead, and then you've got in front of your body, in front of your chest. Two different pushes, and that's it. For the next movement, we've got the pull. So the pull is opposite of push. So instead of, imagine if you want to do pull, you would pull yourself up. So you've got the push when you're pressing above your head, and then you're pulling yourself up. Imagine you are on the ladder and you're going up, you kind of pulling. The same in front. The front is like a rowing. If you are leaning through your hips and you want to lift something from the floor with your arm, you do pull. And the pull is as well overhead and in front of your chest. And the pull mostly work the back of your body, so it's gonna be your back muscles and bicep mostly. And the next exercise, the next thing your body can do is the carry. And this is something you do every day. Anytime you go to do shopping and you've got a basket in your hand, you carry the weight. And the carry is super important because it's a it tests your core. It tests the way if you can be balanced and if you can keep something next to your body and move with it. It will also test your grip strength, because to be able to carry heavy weight, you need to have a strong arm and strong grip. When you do carry, you need to keep your body position right. So make sure your shoulder blades are back, you are nice and tall, you're not leaning sideways. And when you carry something in your hand, try to remain upright, don't bend to the side. Use muscles instead of the spine to counterbalance the weight. So this was carry. One of the biggest exercises, or one of the best exercises to work your carry, is the farmer carry. When you pick up the weight, you squat down, pick up the weight, and you walk in the straight line. You probably seen this during the strongman competition. You ever watched the strongman competition? Okay, and the lastly is your core. So the core, it's all the muscles in between your shoulders and your hips. So the muscles in the front, your six packs, but also kind of around behind. And also, I like to think about the core muscles as a glute muscles as well. You need to have strong muscles there. If you got strong core, you can perform all the other exercises much easier. And a lot of times when people got the problem with lower back pain when they lifting, it turns out that they do have the core, if they cannot engage the core well enough. And you use core all the time. I wouldn't be able to stand here if my core wouldn't exist. So everyone has the core, but not everyone get the core strong enough. So there's a ways of exercising. So we will try. The core exercises are there to make your core stronger and more stable. So your shoulders, so if you think about this is your shoulders here, this is your head, and then this is the upper body, and then you've got the hips, and this is the legs. So this is all the core, and then this brings stability to your body. So if you want to do something like a squat, and then you want to lift something from the floor when you are at the bottom of the squat, then you have to have a lot of stability in the mid part, because otherwise you won't be able to transfer the power. The same like even things like throwing. If you want to throw something, you have to generate the power from the floor through your legs, through the core to your shoulders, so that then you can throw. Same thing with the punching. If you want to punch something, you need to be able to transfer the power from the hips through the core. Okay, so back to the first slide. We've got 6 movements we can do, and the next step is to introduce the best exercises for each of those, so we can start getting stronger in these positions. But before we do that, we need to understand one concept, the super important concept when it comes to the programming your own strength sessions, is the progression. If you want to get strong, you have to overload over the time. Let's say, just for the sake of this video, that you do squat, yeah? You do squat. And you start with where the beginners should start. You start with 3 sets of 12 reps with 20 kilogram. And you do this 3 times a week. And you always manage to do the 12 reps. Next week, you've got 2 options. You can either increase the number of reps or increase the number of the weight of the exercise. I don't want you really lift more than 12 reps, because it becomes more like endurance. It's not the strength. I rather you to do less. So somewhere between 8 to 12 would be ideal for the strength development, especially to the start with. So we cannot increase this, we need to increase the weight. So we go, next week I've got 3 times 12, but now I do 24 4 kilograms. And if you can do this, and I'm still good with it, next week I go 3 times 12, but I go, let's say, 28 kilograms. And then I've noticed that I could not do the full set. So I did 12 reps, I did 12 reps, and I did 8. So it means that the next week I'm staying with my 28. And then I'm doing 28 until I can get to my 12 reps. And if I do my 3 times 12, then I can go and increase the weight. And you can keep going like this for a long, long time. Gradually, I would like you to go from 12 reps to 10 reps to 8 reps. And probably the 8 reps would be ideally, because if you think about this is the scale of the repetitions, and then this is 1 rep max, 1 rep max. So this is your pure strength, good. And then this is 100 reps, and this is your endurance. So we want to be somewhere in the middle. We want to work on the strength, yes, but we also want to work on the muscle building. And then there's a sweet spot around 8 reps here. So between 8 and 12, this is where you want to be. This is where you want to spend majority of your lifting. Okay, and then lastly, in terms of programming your sessions, you've got different options. For the beginner as you, I would think about 3 sessions per week, and I would hit every time the full body. So I would do all those 6. I would do squat, hinge, pull, push, anti-rotation, and carry in each of the sessions. Over the time, if I'm getting stronger and bigger and better, I might start splitting to, for example, doing a squat with the pull one day, and then I would do hinge and push the other day. I would do split like this. But for now, doing the full body workouts 2-3 times a week, it's a probably good start. And I will go probably 3 to 6 sets per exercise per session.